Today, I'm checking out Dharamshala in India for the first time, and everything they have to offer. But it turned out to be nothing like what the American media says it is. So as an American traveler who loves everything India, I want to talk about the 10 biggest things that shocked me the most when I traveled to Dharamshala. So get ready for this, cause I'll say the things I like about it, but also what completely shocked me about the trip. And at the end, I will tell you what I really felt about everything. But let's get the craziest one out of the way, cause so many people warned me about this in Dharamshala, but that all turned out to be lies. And that is, Dharamshala is not as overpriced as my Indian friends and the whole internet say it is. With comments like, expensive with nothing but loud, noisy crowds. Himachal is overrated as a tourist destination, but the reality is nothing like that. And yeah, I know it's one of the most commercialized places in India, but I pay way less for everything than I had to pay in, like Delhi and Kolkata, for example. The veg chow mein here was only $2, but in other cities, I would have to pay $3 for something similar. Gosh, the noodles here are so good, I'm not even kidding. And one of my local friends puts it best. He says to avoid the touristy places, but if you have to go there, well then you gotta face the high prices. Because the point of those places is to literally loosen up your pockets. But the next thing that totally surprised me, as I never saw it coming, is how fast you can hit the sub button if you love the video so far, and how Dharamshala still has its own vibe, despite being mostly commercialized and catered to the tourist business. Like if you go into the suburb, you still get a good old village feeling that you wouldn't get anywhere else. And yes, this city is still being overwhelmed with all the international brands, like is that Domino's Pizza, bro? And you also see the big contrast between the tourists and non-tourist places, but it's still way more natural and authentic than, let's say, Shimla and Kuha over there. But the internet connectivity wasn't what I expected at all, as I would be walking and suddenly no signal, and a few minutes later, hey, the signal is back, but then I took a wrong turn at the city, and would you look at that, no signal again. And this can be serious if you're like me, you know. You want to go out into the mountain without a plan or direction in mind? First off, why would you want to do that? This is not Disneyland. You can literally be in danger if nobody knows where to find you. But you have to see if your internet coverage is good enough in places you're about to go into. But before that, we have another thing to worry about, and that is how Dharamshala is surprisingly empty. And this can either be an extremely good or bad thing, like even though I came during peak season to see the snowy mountains, there weren't many people, let alone international tourists. And I know Dharamshala is not as overrun by tourism as, let's say, Goa and Taj Mahal. So if you enjoy being the only foreigner walking on the street, you would probably enjoy it. However, that does make you stand out from the rest, and baggers will most likely target you as a crew. The next thing would also trouble you as a traveler and even the locals, and that is the younger lads coming from Haryana, Punjab, and Delhi driving all the way to Dharamshala in their fancy cars, blasting crazy loud music with their terrible speaker, getting so many drinks to the point their moms don't even recognize them, and then just being a terrible nuisance to everyone on the street, especially at night. Like I stayed at the hotel next to a major road, and they were just driving back and forth, music after music. Sometimes it's impossible to sleep, bro. I even saw those young tourists stopping the car in the middle of the road, okay? Tossing out bottles and trash, turn up the music to the highest volume, and then open up the window just so everyone can hear. Like, y'all wanna know why you have so much litter in Dharamshala? Cause the locals don't litter. They respect their land and home, but tourists will do so without a second thought. And when you want to go and argue with them, one of my friends totally did, bro. They would just yell back at you. Like many locals I know don't even feel safe going out at night due to this. But that was for tourists. Now I want to talk about the locals. Cause my gosh, aren't they the nicest and the most welcoming, bro? It ain't kidding when the internet said that. Like, you have tourists coming here praising how the view is good, the mountain trekking is fun, but it was the nice local people in Dharamshala supporting all those experiences. And they tend to be taken for granted and not think enough. And that goes back to the littering issue being caused by the people visiting here. If you enjoy your time in Dharamshala, why would you leave trash behind for the locals to clean up after you? This doesn't make any sense to me, bro. Also, one thing I noticed, and this is absolutely great, is that the locals don't really react to you. Like, I have been to many places in India, and you will always get stared at if you look a bit different. But here's like, they know you're on vacation, and they also want you to have a great time. Okay, but now I want to get into the things that American media or any media at all didn't prepare me for what I would face in Dharamshala, and that is the fog. So apparently, it is the worst during winter and rain season, and sometimes flights will have to be cancelled due to it, and that also caused another problem. Like, if you don't plan out your trip with that in mind, and you come here at the wrong time, well, the town is not going to look like the pictures on the internet at all. It's also extremely unrealistic to think you can walk across towns and mountains simply because it looks short on the map. I made that mistake, okay? And I twisted my ankle deep inside the mountain and almost got hit by a bus a few times, being literally next to a cliff, mamma mia. And taxis are not always available too. As it appears to me, they mostly stay inside certain spots in the city. So if you're in, like I said, a place with literally nobody, that can be a bit rough. Combining that with the fog and unpredictable weather, I really don't think it's a good idea to try to walk between cities and towns. But the next thing that totally shocked me was the street vendors in Dharamshala. Bro, they don't try to force and sell stuff to you. They're just chill and waiting for customers to come, bro. And that makes it so relaxing to walk around the street unbothered, which I never thought I would get to experience in India. Tibetan culture is another thing. Nobody, I'm saying none of the American media or social media posts said anything about it. Wait, how is that possible? Everyone only talks about trekking and seeing the snowy mountains, but the local Tibetan culture is massive and so beautiful too, dare I say. Turns out, Dharamshala is also the home to the largest Tibetan temple and so many iconic Tibetan foods like tukpa, tenduk, and Tibetan butter tea that you gotta try out for yourself. But nothing even came close to shocking me than seeing everyone on the street suddenly begin to direct traffic, bro. Since the roads are so narrow in Dharamshala, if two trucks or minivans try to cross at the same time, well, you get yourself one of those, man. And it is crazy, like, you guys would all volunteer to direct the traffic, showing them how much to back away and move. I mean, it goes to show you how Dharamshala as a community is one of love and unity. And if that doesn't make this the most amazing place in India, if that doesn't show you that Himachal Pradesh is the best state in India, then I don't know what will. Now, I would love to hear what you have to say. Did you also have fun visiting here, or do you live here? Well, tell us in the comments, because this is totally the most memorable trip I have ever had. Not just in India, but in the whole world. But Dharamshala was actually not the craziest place I have been to in India, because in this video, I visited the most hated state in all of India, but they ended up changing everything I ever believed about India. And trust me, you don't want to know what happened.